You stopped me in my tracks. Let's go.
Yeah.
He just looked away and walked off.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's just a shame. And, I shouldn't have even had to have done that. That shouldn't even be a story, really. Like, the way people treat each other in this martial art tends to, like you say, go against every rule in the book. And it's a real shame.
Yes.
But this isn't about me, anyway.
No.
So this happened.
Happens, and it continues to happen, which I think is a shame, because if I was in charge of the national governing body of this country, we have a lot of problems with judo in this country. And if I was in charge, I understand many people have issues and different ideas about judo, but my main priority to make this country better in what we do, to make us more successful, I would really go out of my way to unify everybody, bring everybody together, work together. As a national governing body, I need to be the umbrella. I would allow people to run their clubs in their philosophies, in their principles. But when it comes to selections, when it comes to people competing, the best way we're going to be stronger to represent ourselves in other countries is to bring everyone together and truly pick the best of the best to represent, regardless of what piece of paper they've got, regardless where they train. I would have training centers all around the country where people have accessibility, free choice, free will to take part, and we will have eliminations to choose the best judokas, because every organization has potential people. The reason why we don't do well, because we've got the same people doing the same thing, selecting from the same crop. Imagine if we can open this up to everybody. It's all about suffocation. We tried to join a federation and they were more interested in hijacking our principles and our philosophies, not recognizing, on one end, they were commending our technical ability and our standards. On the other hand, they would turn around and tell us, yes, if we join you, you're going to have to do our own training courses. You're going to have to do our own coaching courses to be recognized. You can't commend me, and on the other hand, you want to hijack me. Why can't you accept me as a judoka? At the end of the day, there may be a few slight differences, whether it's traditional or modern. It could be adjusted. We don't all drive the same BMW. You can drive a Mercedes. You can drive a van. The principles are the same. We do a few adjustments. We follow the rules. And let's represent this country and start doing well. In the last 50 years, we've had the silver medal and about a gold medal. We haven't had many medals.
We've had Paralympic gold. We've had
a few successes in ladies.
Yeah.
But when you look at the overall, some countries win all this in one competition.
I think you raise a good point though. I think, you look at like Russia, Georgia, France, Japan.
They win these medals every time.
And the reason is because they've got such a they've got good training, but they've got a wider pool of talent, which allows more people to come through, which allows more people to choose from. It's just
make it more accessibility.
It's so hard right now, first and foremost, to run a club in Britain.
That's another
There's
problem.
So much red tape. It's so difficult, so much bureaucracy. Then it's so hard to get to events, because if you, like you say, have the wrong piece of paper, you can't turn up to the event or that event or that event. And all these headaches also put people off even bothering. We've had people who are really keen to compete, but because of all the headaches that comes with it,
and it's money.
They're just like, I just can't even be bothered. I'm just happy to train.
Exactly.
And there's going to be thousands of people who feel the same. And I think, it's just the talent pool in this country is just so small, and it's too restricted. And I mean, we could talk about this for ages, like how we could fix it. But I think you're right; it's too closed off. It's all done under the guise of, it's done under trying to maintain standards. They say trying to maintain this, and there are certain standards that have to be maintained. Obviously, like welfare, child protection, DBS, all that kind of stuff, first aid.
No one's questioning that, but every organization has that.
But their standards talk about, like you say, this meeting we were in, and it wasn't to join another organisation, it was actually to affiliate, so we could work together to try and break down these barriers that we're talking about.
Yes.
And you're right. They said, within the first 5 minutes, it was, you have such a great reputation for producing really great technical judoka who have a really great understanding of the system and judo and the martial art. And they would spend about 5 minutes talking about how great our understanding and our ability to pass on our understanding of the technical aspects of judo. and help people apply that, then in the next breath they're like, oh, but we'd have to regrade all your people to make sure that your black belts are up to the same standard as our black belts. Like, come on, it's a complete contradiction.
We have these registered clubs who have every credential under the sun, run by this national governing body, and yet we go there. These people have all the ticks. They're their official organisation, and we've seen people come in as beginners, and they do no induction. They don't teach them breakfalls. They start throwing them around. They break every rule in the book in health and safety. And you're thinking, how on earth is this club taking these beginners and start throwing them on a crash mat? They know no breakfalls. They know no throws. And you're thinking, well, it's double standards. You look very good on paper, but in reality, you're primitive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, this is...
And yet you're the ones that want to examine me. It is unacceptable.
This is a true story. This actually happened. This is when I was trying to ramp up my competitions. I would visit clubs all the time and go to different places. And sometimes I would bring him along to, I'd bring Sampson along to kind of watch my training, give me tips, and just obviously be my coach and guide me on things. And yeah, we visited this one club, and it was this poor guy's first ever judo session. And it was a nagi komi session, just straight being thrown hard onto mats, crash mats around. This is poor guy's first ever judo session. Doesn't even understand what breakfall is. Doesn't even really understand what judo is. Yet they've got this guy being launched by black belts at full pelt. How is that the standard? Exactly. And obviously it's not going to be like that in every place. But it just goes to show that you can have as much information as you want on paper, but what actually happens on the mat is what actually matters. And I think that's really what comes down to it. It's about just trying to just strip back some of this restriction and this tick box exercises and just allow people to do judo. And you look at the comparison between judo and jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is flourishing right now there's many reasons why. We've got MMA and all that kind of stuff, and culturally, and I think jiu-jitsu generally has a cooler vibe than judo because people have the coloured gis and people like that. But I think, in my opinion, it's so much easier to start and run a club, which you can just start getting people through the doors. And the more people you get through the doors, as we've spoken about, you have a wider pool of talent, and you can actually start picking people up from that pool of talent. And you have more people, it means you're going to find better people. It's going to make other people better. And I just think the talent pool in this country for judo, not the talent pool, but like the pool to select from in this country in terms of judo is so small, and it's getting smaller and smaller. All you got to do is go on Facebook, go on some of these groups, and you see, unfortunately, I've had to close down because of X, Y, Z. I'm sorry, but this club is closing. It's dying.
Yeah, they're closing much because an amateur who's been running as a judo school for 40 years, who's done it from the goodness of his heart in his spare time, part-time, he's got a grade. He's a fourth dan. He's got a grade. He's done his meal. He's an experienced judoka, runs his judo club for his community, for his people. Suddenly is approached by the national governing body saying, you've got to come on a course, on a 5-day course. You've got to spend 600 quid. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You've got to do this. You've got to pay this. We've got to come and grade your people. You're not allowed to grade your people. We have to take a percentage of your money. It's all about money grabbing and control. They make it so difficult for this person to function as an established club. He hasn't got the time to take all this time off. He's done his time in judo. He's just teaching judo. And then he decides, well, it's so difficult to run my club now. They've taken away, they've stripped me of all my authority. I've got to have so much paperwork, and it's got to be upgraded so often. I haven't got the time. So what does he do? He closes his club.
Well, yeah.
And that's exactly what they're doing. I'm not sure they're aware of what they're doing, the damage they're doing. If every club closes down, then we've got less people to choose from.
Obviously, I don't know the data. It'd be interesting to see the statistics of membership across like all the varying organisations and see like if it's gone up or down over the last 5 years. Because I don't know. I'm just going off what I see on like social media and Facebook of this club's closing down, this club's closing down. There's one nearby us that closed down recently, which was a real shame.
Yeah, all you hear is really low numbers.
Low numbers, yeah.